Hi, welcome to Digital Times Africa. My name is Richard Joseph, coming to you live from the Ghana Startup Act Stakeholder Consultative Workshop. We're here live at the Fiesta Royal Hotel where the working committee has gathered together startup businesses, entrepreneurs alike, and the tech entrepreneurship ecosystem within Ghana to deliberate and discuss what the next steps are for the Ghana Startup Act. So they're able to enforce this and so that startups within the African ecosystem can benefit from it. Hi, good afternoon, Doc.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good to have you on.
Absolutely.
On Digital Times, right?
Yeah.
Having moderated the entire session on the consultative workshop, right? What are some of your takes, and what does the future of the startup bill currently look like?
It's really interesting. I was talking to the cameraman who shot and he was very surprised at the intensity of the discussions that were going on. It's very clear that a bill like this has a lot of moving parts, right? And layers of issues around, how do you even define what a startup is? How do you deal with capacity building and providing tax, legal sort of support and so forth, right? So we had about 30 people here and about maybe another 30 or 40 online, and we were able to track their comments in the chat, bring some people up to voice their contributions, and to me that was more interesting because that shows this is in Corona times. That is the new format, hybrid, and I think we did that really well, and we got some really good insights and really good feedback on different aspects of the bill, and I think it has really good prospects going forward. Really good, because I mean, when we listened to Sharif do the presentation, he made the point that when GIZ came in to support a one approach, or to put the different players together, there were about three or four or five different efforts towards an act. So now that all of these players are working together, clearly they are coming at it from a position of strength, right? So we are very sure that all the gaps will be filled, all the opportunities for innovation are discovered, and really good plans are in place. We're discussing back there the differences between a Ghanaian startup ecosystem and maybe a Silicon Valley or Boston or somewhere else, and it's very clear that there are differences. For instance, in Ghana, you don't have a lot of angel investment or startup capital, but there are other ways of supporting startups. Taking the stress off, improving on their reducing the distractions that make it difficult for startups to thrive. And so I think in our own small way, we are on the right path, right? Because if you can start by reducing the constraints, then you can build on that to sort of start to build a munificent system that provides the support, the needed support for startups to thrive. So I think we're on course. Government plays a really big role, important role in our economy. So having working on a policy that is able to sort of pave the way in somewhat for startups is a really good step.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Gordon.
Right.
Adomja. I think I got that right.
You got that
Good
right.
to have you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
You work with Maiden in IT. Can you introduce yourself for the benefit of our audience?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Emmanuel Mumni. I work with GIZ on a project called Make IT in Africa. And we have a mandate of promoting digital innovations here in Ghana.
Great. So, one of your talks, I mean, when during your opening remarks, you made an emphatic statement, right? If we don't intentionally include, we might unintentionally exclude.
Right.
How has this been so far? Intentionally including stakeholders regarding the Ghana Startup Bill, which is said to be an act.
Right. I mean, if you talk about the Startup Act, it's multi-dimensional, right? So you're talking about different stakeholders in private sector, in public sector, but also development organizations. And our main mandate has always been how to include every actor, because this is the only way you can have a great document that can be passed in Parliament. Keep in mind that they do a lot of scrutiny to ensure that you've engaged everyone. So it's been a lot of engagement with different actors. We've had residential stakeholder engagements, we've had some online engagements, and today we felt like it's really important that we are engaging tech startups, because for one reason, they are our main target group as Make IT, but another reason is that when you talk about tech and startup acts all over Africa, they constitute the main stakeholders, you know. So we have always been big on tech entrepreneurs.
Okay. So what are the next steps? I mean, looking forward, you're going to be having regional consultations. Right? What are the next steps? What are some of the stuff you put in place to facilitate this and have those feedback coming so that we can actually expedite this process to become an act?
All right. So if you looked at the Startup Act, you saw that there were a lot of goodies going to startups, where they're going to get free this, free that, or reduce amount on this. And on one side it's good, on another side it's a strain on the revenues of government. So government will only accept this if it makes sense for them. And how does it make sense for them? It's the confidence that in the next 5 to 10 years, like the country or the government can reap something from the startups that they are being support or have been supporting. So the idea for us is to do an economic analysis. So economic impact analysis. So basically thinking about a business case. And a business case is like trying to balance your sheet that if you are spending this amount of money on X number of startups in this year, more tax, they're employing more people, and they're influencing the economy in a great way. That is something that is convincing to government, right? And it's rightfully so that they have to look out for the greater good. So we are embarking on an economic impact analysis to attach to the Startup Act that will be sent to Parliament, so that they can see the act and all the goodies that are going to the startup, but they can also see the justification to the reasons why we are asking for those goodies given to the startups.
Okay, one final one. Having made working trips to Tunisia and Kenya,
Right.
what works in the ecosystem that we are looking at developing to help the Nigerian startup ecosystem also thrive?
Right. So for our trips to Tunisia, it was more about an exchange, right? To learn about their experiences, because they were the first African country to get a Startup Act, and we felt like it took a long time, it took a lot of effort. So we wanted to learn from them and get inspired. So we don't encourage the idea of drag and drop into Ghana, but thinking about getting an inspiration from Tunisia and developing our own Startup Acts that speaks to the needs, because the needs in Tunisia are very different from what we have in Ghana. So there are a lot of lessons learned from Tunisia, and their main focus was bringing in tech talent from other countries, because they were running out of tech talents. And so it's always important that before you even develop a Startup Act, you know what your objective is, because we have different types of tech Startup Acts. So there are some Startup Acts that are looking at bringing in revenue from other countries in terms of investments, just drawing in investments. Others are looking at problem solving in the country. So you have like so many social problems. You want innovations to solve them. Other ones are looking at just bringing in the talents, like what was happening in Tunisia. So it was really compelling for us to think about why we are even doing a Startup Act. Are we just doing it because it's a hashtag all over the world that everyone is doing Startup Act, or do we have a reason behind it? And for us, it was influencing the economy in a deep way, because innovations, we've seen the startups that we have in Ghana. We have so many of them in agri-tech, fintech, and they are providing value in different ways. You can talk about the likes of Agro Center that is on the ground supporting smallholder farmers in different ways. You can talk about the big fintech companies that have changed the way we pay and the way we transact, and it's massive, the social impact that these are having. And we feel that there are so many other sectors that still need these innovations. The health sector is a big one. We have so many challenges in our ecosystem in the health sector that we feel innovation can easily solve. But if these innovators are being challenged with things that policy can address, why don't we use the policy to address them and make them have an easier route to getting success with their startups?
Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel, for engaging us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Look forward to engaging you.
And thanks so much for coming. We really appreciate your passion for the whole activity and for the ecosystem. I think these are the initiatives we want in the ecosystem. Everyone is coming to the picture and everyone is contributing. So I can only say thank you to you.
Sure. Okay. So I don't think I have any major objections. I think the act is actually going in the right way. That's the first and foremost thing. For me, I think the three areas where I think the act probably has a lot of loopholes for me is, one is dependencies on existing government structures, which thereby makes, if that changes, then this act changes. That is a big loophole for me. It's like we've seen NBSSI, GIPC over and over again. We're starting to see other ministries involved as well, which is okay, which is fair. You know, you need governmental intervention, but you need to make sure the dependencies are not linear to each other or not proportional to each other in that way. The second thing, which I think is a big I think concern for me, is I think the act still doesn't define a startup for what it is. Like, people are saying 8 years, 12 years, 16 years. If you've been there for 16 years, man, you're not a startup anymore, right? You're a lifestyle business, right?
Are the hubs ready to commit themselves towards this capacity building these people to get to the point where they can move into registration? What are the process? What are the dynamics? What would these all look like?
It's a yes and no, and the yes being they're willing, and the no, they don't have the capacity. So that is
the hubs do not have the capacity,
right? So that is the role of the Ghana Hubs Network, to ensure that we then get our hubs into that space. So we're going to run a lot of training programs to give them the capacity, because you have to remember that a lot of these guys start off to just help entrepreneurs. A lot of the policies and everything that comes in after. So they're not going to have the expertise to do that. Right? See, so that's up to us, the bigger umbrella bodies, to be able to then prep them when that time comes. So it's up to Ghana Hubs Network to have programs that then build the capacity of the hub to be able to support the entrepreneur. So it's not the job of the hub to do all of this. It's the job of the Ghana Hubs Network and other agencies to do that, to support the hubs to do that.
All right, great. Do you think your position on the working committee, again, do you think that this actually encapsulates all the thoughts, the thought processes of all the entrepreneurs and startups, right? Does this cover everything?
No, it doesn't, and naturally it shouldn't, because if it does, then that means that we will never launch. What we need to do is have the act that is solidified, covers the basic, right? But then it evolves, it has room to evolve, so that when more people bring ideas, we take on board those ideas and then kind of, build on it. Because if we said we want to get a perfect act, then it will never, ever launch. So for me, I'm glad that we don't have everybody on board. Eventually, when we launch, we will get everybody on board.
Thank you very much, Joseph.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you.